Hello again, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm all set to count down this week's 40 most played country songs in the nation, according to MediaBase 24/7 for the chart week of July 19th, 2025. Before I get started counting down this week's biggest hits, let's take a look back at last week's top three. Number 3 was Country House by Sam Hunt. Number 2 was Just in Case by Morgan Wallen. And the number 1 song last week was Weren't for the Wind by Ella Langley. Now can Ella stay at number 1 for another week? Let's begin the climb to the top of this week's chart. Here's the first of the 40 biggest hits, a debut from Chris Young, coming in at number 40 with his 24th top 40 hit called Till the Last One Dies. That's her only debut this week. And we do have another one re-entering this week, coming in at number 39, Sam Barber and Avery Anna, both their top 40 hits called Indigo. And with one debut and one re-entry, we say goodbye to two droppers falling out this week, or I'm the Problem and Worst Way. On with the countdown, up a notch to number 38, here's Max McNown with Better Me For You. Up a notch to number 37, here's Dylan Scott with What He'll Never Have. Up 4 notches to number 36, here's Morgan Wallen and I Got Better. Up a notch to number 35, 6th week on the chart, here's Justin Moore with Time's Ticking. Up a notch to number 34, Megan Patrick with Golden Child. Up a notch to number 33, it's Ernest with What If I Could. And here's the week's fastest climbing hit, up 5 notches to number 32, it's Blake Shelton with Stay Country or Die Trying. Up 2 spots to number 31, it's Zach Top with Good Times and Tan Lines. In this 9th week in the countdown, he's up a notch to number 30, Party with Favorite Country Song. At number 29 for the second week, it's Parmalee with Cowgirl. Up 4 notches to number 28, Megan Maroney and Kenny Chesney with You Had to Be There. Up a notch to number 27, George Bird and It Won't Be Long. Up 4 notches to number 26, Chase Matthew with Darling. At number 25, up a notch, Starks Bentley and She Hates Me. Up a notch to number 24, Rascal Flatts and the Jonas Brothers with I Dare You. Up 4 notches to number 23 in its 9th week on the chart, Hudson Westbrook with House Again. Up 2 to number 22, it's Tucker Whitmore with 3, 2, 1. And at number 21, up 2 spots, Parker McCollum with What Kind of Man. In her 6th week on the countdown, she's up 2 spots to number 20, Lainey Wilson with Somewhere Over Laredo. Up 2 spots to number 19, this 20th week on the chart, Keith Urban with Straight Line. Up 2 to number 18, it's Jelly Roll with Heart of Stone. Up 2 spots to number 17, it's Jackson Dean with Heavens to Betsy. And one JD to another JD, here's Jordan Davis. Up 2 to number 16 with Bar None. Up 2 to number 15, Eric Church with Hands of Time. Up 2 spots to number 14, it's Scotty McCreery and Hootie and the Blowfish with Bottle Rockets. Up 2 spots to number 13, it's John Party and Friday Night Heartbreaker. Here's last week's number 1 record, down to number 12 this week, Ella Langley with Weren't for the Wind. And the 11th most played hit this week, up 2 spots, Russell Dickerson with Happened to Me. Here's the first of the 10 biggest hits, up a notch to number 10, it's Bailey Zimmerman with Luke Combs with Backup Plan. Up 3 spots to number 9, scoring his second top 10 hit, it's Shabuzi with Good News. Up a notch to number 8, here's Luke Bryan with Country Song Came On. Up 3 spots to number 7, Thomas Rhett with After All the Bars Are Closed. Easing down a notch to number 6 with his recent number 1 hit, it's Corey Kent with This Heart. At number 5, up 2 spots, it's Tyler Hubbard and Park. And sitting at number 4, up 2 spots this week, Nate Smith with Fix What You Didn't Break. And at number 3 for the second week, it's Sam Hunt with Country House. The number 2 song in the nation, up 2 spots this week. The song has been on the chart the longest at 36 weeks. Here's Josh Rouse and Single Again. And the number 1 song in country music this week took just 14 weeks to get here and climbs to number 1, giving him his 19th number 1 hit. It's Morgan Wallen, Just in Case, from his I'm the Problem CD. And there you have it, our countdown of the 40 most played country records of the week. Join me again next week. Once again, we will count them down and find out who's got the number 1 country hit in the USA.